So let's start with a fun little alternatives path exercise. This is an exercise called the Odyssey plan. I first did this exercise in 2019. Man, 5 years ago, more than 5 years ago. I first did this exercise in December 2019, and it was really the first time I did a serious life visualization, life design exercise. I came across it from a YouTube video from a friend of mine who was referencing a book called Designing Your Life by Bill Burnett and Dave Evans. They are Stanford Business School professors who teach a course on how to design your life using first principles approaches from design thinking and stuff. And basically, the idea behind the Odyssey plan is you are going to write out 3 different things. Firstly, what does your life look like 5 years from now if you continue down your current path? What does it look like? And I generally would recommend putting this in the domain of self, work, and relationships. Self, work, and relationships. That'll be up in a moment. Then you rewind and you say, okay, what does your life look like 5 years from now if you had to take a completely different path? You are no longer allowed to go down the path. Usually people view path as career path. You're no longer allowed to go down the path that you're currently on. You have to pick a completely new path. What does your life look like 5 years from now? And then you have the radical path. What does your life look like 5 years from now if you didn't need to worry about money or what people would think of you? And this is the radical path. And for each path, we want to be thinking about what your life looks like in the domains of self, work, and relationships. And I'm going to put the timer on in a moment, but before that, I'm going to tell you a little story. I did this exercise 5 years ago, and I actually wrote it in my newsletter. So actually, it's on my website. Like what my 5 years ago, I did this exercise for myself 5 years from now, and now I'm 30. So I did it when I was 25 for what does my life look like when I was 30? And when I wrote out my default path, I was like, I'm training in anesthesiology in Cambridge. I'm working part-time as a doctor because it's fun. I'm still doing YouTube. I'm on the dating scene because I haven't yet found the perfect person, and I keep on overthinking it. I'm teaching medical physiology at the University of Cambridge part-time. It's really fun. And I wrote all of that out. And I had a profound feeling of is that it? This was the life I've been working towards. It's a life many people would kill, absolutely dream of. Oh my God, you're a lecturer at Cambridge University and you're working as an anesthetics trainee and you're going to save lives and blah, 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 blah. But I saw that life written out and I was like, it just feels kind of boring. It no longer inspires me. It once inspired me. It's the life path I was on. But I realized, screw this. This is actually no longer energizing. It's no longer exciting. And that was kind of the beginning of the end of my medical career when I did this exercise and realized, this sounds a bit grim. My alternative path, you can see from my lack of imagination, my alternative path was, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do medicine in the UK. I'm going to do medicine in the US. I'm going to go to America and take the USMLE and become a resident there. I'm going to train in surgery or some shit like that. And I started actually preparing, in January, 5 years ago actually, started preparing for the USMLE and thinking about going to America. That's how little imagination I had. But then when I did the radical path thing, I was like, okay, if I didn't need to worry about money or what people would think of me, would I even do medicine? No, I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't do medicine. I'd probably do some sort of tech startup or be a full-time YouTuber or something. And turns out the radical path ended up coming way more true than I could have imagined. And this was 5 years ago. So this is the Odyssey plan exercise. We're going to do 3 lots of 3 minutes. So we're going to do 3 minutes for each of the paths. So let's start with the default path. Of course, if you finished with it, you can go to the next one, and I'll give you a reminder when 3 minutes is up, 9 minutes in total. So let's go for it. Okay, it's been about 3 minutes, so please have a move on to the alternative path. Imagine you have a gun to your head, or you've been fired from your current job, and you are not allowed to enter that field ever again. You've been put on some sort of register that prevents you from ever doing the thing you are currently doing. You're no longer allowed to do that. What new career would you do? What new path would you take if you were not allowed to do your current path? For me, when I'm imagining the alternative path these days, or the radical path in terms of relationships, I don't imagine I divorce my wife and never have kids. I imagine more like I'm living in Hong Kong, or I've decided to be a digital nomad traveling the world, or I've decided to move to San Francisco to start a tech company. As sort of the home circumstances can change significantly. I've decided to homeschool my kids versus I've decided to put them in the Hong Kong International School versus, we're traveling the world and it's an exercise in dreaming divergently. This is not about being fixated on any one, technically, am I doing this right? It's more like just giving ourselves permission to dream a little bit bigger than we normally do. Maybe in the self category, one path might be you're becoming a Brazilian jiu-jitsu champion. The other path might be you decide to become a yogi. The other path might be you decide to devote yourself to becoming a YouTuber, or whatever. Become really good at art, really good at sketching, really good at painting, yeah. And so feel free to move on to the radical path if you have not yet moved on to radical path. Okay, so congratulations, we have just made a start on the Odyssey plan. This is a self-reflection exercise that often takes a very long time. I think the first time I did it, I spent like an hour on it, and I've given you about 8 minutes on it this time around. Obviously, within the context of a session like this, where we're trying to go through a lot of content, we can't just sit here for an hour watching you do the exercise, which is why this is all part of the template, and this is all part of your homework. And what I would encourage you to do is, a lot of these exercises require some self-reflection. It's generally useful, I find, to take yourself away from your day-to-day work setup. If you're currently doing this at your desk at home, taking yourself to the local coffee shop or to the local park or to just any context outside of where your day-to-day life normally is. Because when we're doing these sort of big picture exercises, in particular the life compass and the future sketch, in particular dreaming divergently about our dreams and goals and stuff, we can get blinkered into thinking in one specific way. By being in the same environment that we're always in day to day. I like to do the Odyssey plan. When did I last do it? I think I last did it about 2 years ago. I first did it 5 years ago, last did it about 2 years ago. Most of these prompts I repeat about once a year, usually at the end of the year or at the start of the year, which is when I do like my annual planning, annual review, all that kind of stuff. Generally, the end of the year and the start of the year is a good chance for me to reflect on where I want to go, etc., etc. But obviously, if there is a major change in life, like For example, when I have a kid, I might suddenly realize, oh crap, actually a lot of my previously, or a lot of the goals I previously thought were valuable to me are no longer relevant because I want to devote my life to, I don't know, fixing the education system or whatever the thing might be. It's like whenever there's a significant change in circumstances, or once a year, is when I personally like to redo these sorts of prompts. Cool. So again, we're not going to have time to do all of these exercises, so please don't worry about it. Just think of this session